Hi y'all and welcome to CISO Art. Making art is a process. Sometimes we get frustrated, but don't give up. In this video, I will share with you some tips on how to make adjustments to an acrylic painting, how to critique your own work, and improve composition. I'm sitting here in my kitchen. I'm sorry if you're hearing the dishwasher running, but I'm almost done with this. And this is actually the second time I've painted this. Let me show you the first one. And I'm really just not happy with it. This is the first one. I didn't like this flower, and I thought maybe it was too dark, and decided that I wanted to put, the Milky Way thing in, and didn't like the flowers. And then I thought, well, no, I think I'd rather put the mermaid on a rock, and I wanted to do the Milky Way thing, and, all that. Anyway, I'm just really not happy with this one either. And so after I put the first one aside because I didn't like it, now that I look at it, I like it better than this one. And I think why I like it better is it has a little more contrast in values, and this really needs to be the focal point, and so she really needs to be bigger. So instead of scrapping it, I'm starting a third one. I'm going to keep going. That's the beauty of acrylics is, if you mess up or you don't like it, you can paint over it. You can start over. Or you could gesso the whole thing and start all the way over or whatever. Anyway, a lot of these other YouTubers and people that have been painting a long time, they make it look, so easy. It's like, gosh, I should be able to get it the first time. But that's, for me anyway, not always the case. Kudos to them. I suspect that they paint a lot that we don't see on videos. And that's as it should be. So my thoughts are, don't be discouraged, even though it's natural to be discouraged, but try not to be, because that's just what we all go through. And I think I'm going to put some of those bigger rocks under here too, and that'll give me more contrast because I'm going to make them dark. And our mermaid obviously needs to be on a bigger section of rocks. I'm going to keep these flowers if I can. If I get them messed up, I can go back over them because they've got a good base. So I think our mermaid should, I want this COVID ball to show up. I think, well, it's a little too much in the center. I think I'll put it right here. This will be her arm, thereabouts. So her head, okay, yeah. I think I want her head to be above the horizon. I'm going to make her quite a bit bigger, I think. And maybe make her come down to here, sitting on the rocks. So I think I want to lighten this horizon area up a little bit. Make her a lot bigger. Okay, let's play with that. See if we can make it happen. First thing I want to do is cover this up just because it's distracting. So I'm going to use my phthalo blue and some white. Just kind of cover that up. And so I don't get too distracted with that, I'm just going to use some of my flesh color that's already mixed up still on my Stay Wet palette. That's from yesterday's work. And just cover that part up. Just so it doesn't distract me too much. I'm going to add quite a bit of white to it just to make it a little more opaque. And then with a flesh color, it'll be a good base to work on. Okay. And I think I want to put these dark areas down here too. It'll really brighten this up, and then when we go back over this for a little water action, hopefully it'll increase the contrast in this. It was just, you know, when you're in the gallery or you have a special piece of art, the lighting, you know, is very nice. And good lighting can make a mediocre painting look good and make a fabulous painting look, you know, absolutely stunning. But most of us don't have that fancy lighting in our house, and this painting and the other one the first one, they were, you know, just here kind of propped up against my piano and didn't have great lighting on it, and you could hardly even see it. It's just too chromatic and too dark, too monochromatic and too dark, you know, overall dark. So I think that more than anything, and the fact that you really couldn't see her, you know, she wasn't the real focal. I think that's why I wasn't liking it. So I'm just using Prussian blue and burnt umber. Blue and brown, if you don't, you know, any blue, any brown. Makes a good dark. Another beautiful dark is Viridian and alizarin crimson. That's like black, but rich, 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 beautiful black. I'm gonna go ahead and just not worry about going around that leaf. That one wasn't that big a deal. I think too, with having this little rock area, we'll add, you know, when you layer objects in a painting, it gives it more of a feeling of depth. And I thought that just the water, the branches and the flowers being over the water would add, you know, that feeling of those objects being layered, but it just wasn't enough, I don't think. Anyway, that's what we can do as artists. Just sit back and, you know, give a little bit of time to our contemplation of what we did. One of the things I do is I say, okay, if I saw that painting in a store, would I spend my hard-earned money to buy it? No. So that means it needs more work. I'm just gonna add some white to that mix and just kind of make some random rocky looking stuff. This is all just in my head, you know. Sometimes that's tougher because you think you know what something looks like when you try to paint it without looking at a photo reference or, you know, an actual object in front of you. It's a little tough sometimes to realize, oh yeah, okay, I thought I knew what that looked like or how to paint that, but. And then I think we'll be able to go back and highlight this branch some more, and it should come up off of that rock. You know what, talking about that Viridian and alizarin crimson, let me get some out. I can show you. Here's my alizarin crimson. I'm just gonna dot some. Whoa, that was a lot. Dot some here on my canvas. And Viridian. Viridian hue. I don't think I want quite that much. Throw that on my palette. Beautiful. It's a totally different dark than the brown and blue. I'll just repaint in my stems, I think, instead of trying to go around them. I like the idea of leaving a little area of water coming between these rocks. I'm not sure why, but kind of like that idea. Okay, I'm gonna add brown and white. I probably need to let this dry. Yeah, and we'll figure out how to just make some different shapes out of that. I'm gonna mix up a little more of our flesh color. Alizarin crimson. No. Oh yeah, that is alizarin crimson. And yellow ochre and white. It's a good start. Burnt sienna is a really good base too. Oh, that's very pink. A little more of my yellow ochre. A little more white. I'll put a touch, tiny little touch of phthalo. Ooh, that's something. Looks like that'd be a good shadow color. So that was that flesh color with just a touch of phthalo and a touch more of the alizarin. We'll see how that works. All right, girlfriend. When you fold your arms, when you bend your arm at like a 90 degree, on me anyway, my elbow is right above my waist, so that will be her waist right there. So I kept looking and looking and looking and saying, you know, her arm just didn't look right. And then when I looked at my reference photo and I looked at the negative space, meaning the kind of triangle shape from her arm, I realized mine was wrong triangle shape. So I'm trying to cover all that back up, and we'll have to let that dry before I can mess with her arm some more. So I thought, well, let me work on her scales. I want these to be bright. You gotta have the dark to make the light show up, so that's why that kind of ugly green underneath. This is orange and white and yellow. That's pretty. It's more like, and the bend is about where her, just above where her ear would be, so that's about right. And it goes like that. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, draw a little colored circle again. Like that. I added some highlights to the water, kind of smoothed that out, and put some highlights on her hair with gold and white and yellow. I'm going to work on her tail some more. I think all of us go through frustrating times. Some paintings, they just almost paint themselves. They're so easy and they turn out so well, and it's like, gosh, I can't believe I did that. And some of them we struggle. But if it's important to you to have a finished product that you're proud of, I think anytime you paint, it's good practice. And it's not a wasted effort because you always learn something, even if it's to learn what not to do. But again, if it's important, just keep working at it. You can see all the frustration that I've gone through on this one. But I think what ends up making it something that you can be proud of is the composition. And when I mean composition, I'm not just talking about the arrangement of the objects in there, but making sure that you have plenty of lights and darks so you have good contrast. So I'm not gonna take up all your time with, doing the adjustments that I'm gonna do on this one, but I'll show you the finished product. But I think what's important too is to really take your time and sit back and examine what you've done so that you can make those adjustments and figure out, what can be improved and what not. So let me talk about what I like, where I am right now, and what I want to finish, and I think it'll make it better. I want to go back in and add more of these stars because I covered all of these up. And I like this glow right here. I think it contrasts nicely with the darkness of the night sky. I like how this area over here looks like it's off in the distance. And I like how this really fades into where it's, looks like it's really way far back. And this area is not terribly important, so it doesn't have a lot of detail. I don't want to draw your eye too much over here, although just because of the shape of it and the mass of it, it makes an eye stop so that your eye doesn't go off the side of the picture. And I think it has a nice little flow, how it brings you down into here, so it gives you that circle look. Now, I talked about how great this alizarin crimson and viridian makes such a nice, beautiful dark. And so I think I want to go back and darken this area up. Down here also, it'll make a better contrast. And that's again going back to those lights and darks. pretty happy with how all this area over here turned out. This is not too detailed, but just enough to, you know, yeah, okay, I'll look at that. But then it kind of leads you back in towards your main focal point. This is pointing to her. This is kind of, you know, going that way. And this area right here has that kind of circular effect. And then you look to this area, which has more contrast up in here. So I think it makes a nice flow. So anyway, I'm going to make a few more adjustments to her hair. I'm finally happy with the shape of the arms. I'm just going to, you know, tidy all this up and finish that off. Adjust her hair a little bit and darken this area for my better contrast. And I'll add a few little indications of light waves back here. And then I'll sign it. And then I can work on the video. Thanks.